and welcome to another movie review. I'm the Bulk, and today we're having a look at The Dark Tower.
Of my heart.
The film is directed by Nikolaj Arcel and follows a young boy called Jake Chambers. Now, for the past year, he's been having nightmares and visions of this other universe and people and creatures, which are centered around this ominous place called the Dark Tower, which protects our world from a horde of demons on the other side. Now, this wizard, called the Man in Black, hopes to destroy the tower using the minds of children, and is being pursued by the gunslinger, Roland Deshawn, who is determined to kill him in an act of revenge. So, what's good about the film? Well, Idris Elba as Roland, the gunslinger, is absolutely spot on. He captures the character absolutely perfectly and provides the gruffness and says more with his expressions than he does with his words, which the character is like in the books, and provides a very heavy sort of presence in the film as soon as he's in it, and carries it, and he pervades the action well, and you feel his anger, and again, he's good as he normally is. Another actor who I think is absolutely amazing is the young actor who played Jake Chambers, and the character came off really well. Now, Jake is a big part of the books, but sort of later into the book series, he's a big part of the books, and of course is a good standpoint for the audience's introduction into this world, so you sort of get that. And I know a lot of people were a bit worried about whether or not this young boy could carry the film and like help it, but he carries off better, and he's better than a lot of other child actors that you see at the time, and he provides a really good push. You feel for him, and again he plays the role really well. The villain of the piece, the Man in Black, played by Matthew McConaughey, is again really good, basically ripped straight from the books. Matthew McConaughey plays the snide and evilness and the sort of unredeemable poison of the character, and able to like carry himself well with this tone of voice that never gets like to the extremes, and allows you to see how this man doesn't feel anything, and basically provides a really ominous presence throughout. Another huge thing that I think supports the film a lot is the set design and scenery that goes with it, because they capture a lot of the landscapes from the books really well. Of course, this is meant to be like an amalgamation of all the books, so you don't get all the landscapes, you only get a few landscapes, but they are captured really well and look nice and are very cinematic and very detailed, and you feel it. And a lot of the creatures look as they would do from the books, and the description and are very well developed. And also, some of the effects are also really nice, especially the CGI around some of the rat people with fake skin, and other bits and pieces here and there are really good CGI. And again, it just sort of adds to it to make you help believe this world a bit more. Another thing that I thought I wouldn't really think was a big strength until I watched the film was because they take something from the books in that. In the book series, they referenced a lot of Stephen King's other works, including stuff like It and Christine and all this type of bits and pieces. And they have an overwhelmingly large amount of really well-placed and subtle references to other Stephen King source materials, like you see the dog from Cujo, a toy car from that looks like the car from Christine, the name Pennywise is used, the number 1408 is also put in, along with a few other bits and pieces. If you keep your eye watching carefully, you notice a few other bits and pieces, and I feel it adds a nice level of depth to the film, and it adds a nice little touch to bring it over to it, and also makes the experience better from a Stephen King fan point. So, that's good. In terms of weaknesses, I'm afraid this film has rather a lot, and the first of which I believe is the plot. They have simplified the living heck out of this film, and I mean they have. They've basically got the 8-book long series, put into a blender, poured that blender into a new mould, and then baked it, and essentially that's what they've done. And it's better than a lot of adaptations that try. A lot of adaptations go for stupid stuff like these type of plots where they blend it all together, and it comes off a tiny bit better that they've made a coherent plot that's easy to follow. But at the same time, it's a bit insulting to people who know of the book series and read the book series, heck, even slightly aware of it. It's a bit insulting, and seeing as the book series goes into so much depth and so much detail, I feel like they should have really just done the first book for this film, but that's just me. Another big thing I felt was that poor, something that sort of held the film back a bit, was the music cues at points were a bit off. Like, the music was good, but sometimes they had it come in at a bit opportune music, or didn't use it in places where it would have worked a lot better, and would have added a nice impact to the film, like a nice layer to the film, like get you into the film more. And also, this film is short. It is just too short. It's only an hour and a half. And I know there's a lot of films that are an hour and a half, and a lot of them are good films, but sometimes you could feel when a film needs to be longer, and this film really could have done with maybe an extra half an hour, just to give it that wads, to make it feel a bit better. Also, there are a lot of cheesy moments at times, sort of like odd shots or certain little things that they do that are a tiny bit cheesy, and certain repeating of certain phrases that can get a bit cheesy and corny. Also, the CGI does let the film down at points. I mean, for the most part it's alright, but there are points where it's atrocious. There's a shot at the end where it's absolutely appalling. When something blows up, it's absolutely appalling. And some of the magic that used is a bit poor. And also there's a few mistakes with the CGI at points. And also there's a really cool sequence in a forest involving a monster. And the sequence is cool enough and really fun to watch, but the monster itself may not look the best. And also the big thing that holds this back and could pretty much kill the film is it is an atrocious adaptation of the books. And I mean that really, really hardly. Like, I've seen a lot of adaptations of books, a lot of them that have got it right, especially big book series. I've seen an adaptation done so well, and I see this too much often, that people look at a big fantasy book series but just condense it to one film and hope to spin a franchise out of it. And I think it's so pointless. You've seen it with the Spooks books, The Seventh Son, you've seen it with so many different things, and I can't help but think, what is the point? I mean, with this film, at least there was a modest attempt to make it a bit better, and you can tell that this thing has been in development for the best part of 20 years, because it is, you felt like it spent too long and they were just trying to rush it out, and Sony are clearly wanting a franchise out. I mean, I know they want to do a TV show, and I know they want to do more films, but I don't know how they sort of rushed it, and I think if they just did the books straight up, I think that would have been a lot better film than what we got. But, so, saying that, overall, I think the film is not that as bad as people are making it out to be. It's not atrocious, it's a fun film, it's got good performances behind it, decent set design, a clear plot, and it's actually quite fun to watch. It's only held back by like some quality issues, and also being an atrocious adaptation of the book, for which I feel it can't be forgiven. So sadly, I'm going to have to give it a 6 out of 10. So, thank you for watching. Have you seen The Dark Tower? Have you read the books? And what is your favourite Stephen King adaptation? Please let me know down below, and while you're down there, give that like and subscribe button a little tickle, and I'll be seeing you next time. Goodbye!